Hello and welcome to the Patty Pod, Season 2, Episode 7. Friends, humans, people of the planet, lend me your ears. Hope everyone's doing well. I had kind of a wild week. It is Monday, September 25th. I'm off from school today. We are off in recognition of Yom Kippur, Jewish holiday. It's a holiday about atoning for one's sins, the Day of Atonement. I'm not celebrating, not only because I'm not Jewish, but let's be real, I've got nothing to atone for. Just kidding. I hope you know. It's been a fun day for me. I had my folks were in town this weekend, so I spent Friday night having dinner with them in the East Village at a little Mexican restaurant that was quite good. It was a place that Kate suggested. It was roomy, which is a rare thing in New York. To walk into the place, a Midwesterner or a Californian or somebody from the South or the Mountain West or New England probably wouldn't think it looks so roomy or is so roomy, but by New York standards it was. It even had little booth seating, which is somewhat rare, and I loved it because oftentimes I'm in a small little restaurant with little chairs crammed in, and I feel like I'm constantly kind of shifting or pulling my chair in to avoid blocking a pathway or trying to get out of the cold breeze that comes in when the door opens in winter. So I like this place. I did make a rookie mistake, and I stuffed myself with chips. I know, you're thinking to yourself, Brooksy, P. Brooks, Patty, nightmare. How could you? You're 43 years young, and moreover, you're a pro. I hear you. I agree with you. But I couldn't help myself. It was an 8 o'clock dinner. My folks had gotten in not much earlier than that on the plane. We eat at 7. I have a large snack when I come home after class. So I'm usually used to eating something substantial by 5:30 or so. And then dinner at 7. So this was 8. I was starving. And I went after those chips and got myself full from the chips. So I know you're disappointed. I'm disappointed, and I'll be better. Don't worry, I will be better. So I got real full. That was Friday night. I even passed on ice cream afterwards, which is a shock probably to Kate. And Saturday we had brunch. And, sorry, no, not brunch. That was Sunday. Saturday, we met my parents for dinner, and then we went to the Broadway show Shucked, which was pretty funny. It's a show about people in a small town who are supposed to be like in the Midwest somewhere, or the South, and they depend on corn. On their corn crop. The corn crop is failing. Nobody knows what to do, but a young woman in the town insists on trying to find somebody from outside the town to help them. And everyone else in town tells her, no, we can't do that. No outsiders. But she's determined, and so she leaves her town and actually ends up in Tampa Bay, of all places, which is kind of funny. And she's a real naive small town girl. And she finds a corn doctor who is a podiatrist that specializes in treating corns and thinks he's a corn doctor that can fix the crop failure. So, and he turns out this guy's a charlatan, a fraudster, a confidence man. And so he comes back to her town and hijinks ensue. It's pretty funny. A lot of stupid little one-liners that are like, they sort of acknowledge, they sort of tongue-in-cheek, delivered tongue-in-cheek, knowing There's sort of a knowing telling of these jokes, self-referential that they're corny, which makes them funny. And there were some good ones in there. And it was just one-liner after one-liner. A lot of puns and such. So it was good. A couple good songs. There was one about how they love Jesus, but they drink a little. I think you can YouTube these. There's one about being good at being bad. That was a good one, too. So check it out if you're curious. It's a good show. It was, that was Saturday. Sunday, we had brunch with my parents-in-law and my parents and Kate, and headed over to the Met. The Met was, if you haven't been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York or something similar, I don't know if there's anything quite similar in the United States. My dad said it reminded him of the London Museum, or the British Museum in London, which I have not been to. I think about the Minneapolis Institute of Art, the Chicago Institute of Arts, Chicago Institute of Art. I believe that's the proper name of that museum. I imagine is similar in size and scope. But this place is just massive. And they have so much stuff, so many different cultures, so many different time periods. It's, easily something that can overwhelm you. So you got to kind of go in with a game plan, I've learned in my 43 years. Don't make it, I didn't want to make another rookie mistake in the same weekend and try to hit everything and read everything. I have a tendency to want to do that. But I probably would have just ended up dizzy, possibly falling to the ground. So we just were going to hit this new exhibition about Degas and Manet. So we registered for that, but we had an hour before we could go. And so we just decided to kind of look at the other art. So we happened to be near the Egyptian wing, breezed through that. That's pretty incredible. And then we made our way over to the American section. I mean, where do you start? They had some colonial stuff, and then they had Native American art, and then they had arts and crafts movement, which I actually quite like. Had some of that in the museum in Minnesota, where I worked as a security guard right after college. And anyway, it was good, but then it was our time to go to the Manet Degas exhibition. We had to kind of traipse across a good section of the building, and we're kind of walking with a little bit of speed to get there, and it was just like sculpture. And we went to this one section where suddenly the ceiling got super high, and there was paintings, and there were artifacts, and there were busts, and it was like a whirlwind. It was like Roman art, and then it was European Renaissance, and then it was Chinese art, and then it was medieval art. And at one point, there was this giant gate that I walked by that looked like, I don't know, maybe a gate on the interior of a church. My brain could not make sense of it. It was kind of like being in a dream. And it was sort of like, sort of a little fun thing to do, I think, if you're near one of these giant museums that tries to capture the entire canon of art history. Just sort of like walk kind of quickly through it all. It'll seem like you're in sort of a fever dream or some kind of phantasmagorical episode. How do you like that? That's a big word for everybody. So that was the Met. That was Sunday. It rained here all weekend. We must have been caught in some kind of a tropical storm-like system. It just from Friday, I think it was, at least Saturday, all the way till today. It's kind of still raining. It's Monday evening right now. So we were sort of just after the museum. We went and had an early dinner. It was just kind of eating and being inside. But it was good. I had a good time. I do want to read everything when I'm in the museum, and I get kind of upset with myself when I can't remember stuff that I've learned before about history, art history. So it's good for me to kind of just chill a little bit and do a museum like a normal person walk around and just see the stuff and maybe read a little bit here and there. So that was fun. The timing of the whole thing kind of forced that upon me. But then I did it like super speed, which is not a usual way to do it. And that was kind of this weird dream-like experience. So I don't know. Consider maybe if you have that opportunity. So we went to the Manet Degas. I didn't love it. I'm going to tell you. Some of it I liked. I'm kind of a sucker for scale. There was a large painting that I think it was Degas did of some relatives of his. There were two kids and the mom and the standing, and the father was sitting, I believe, and they were just staring at you. Like they had kind of a haughtiness to them. I don't know. I kind of liked it for some reason. I don't know why. I think I liked the home that they were in, the sort of the decor. But I kind of thought they were both a bit. Well, I thought Manet was more of an impressionist. I mean, I guess technically he was involved towards the end of his career, and we did see some of those works. But the other stuff was less interesting to me. But hey, I guess it was a bit of the. I mean, it's the current big exhibition that they're running outside of their permanent collection. So fun to see. It's good to go there every once in a while. I think I was there in 2017. I had to go for a class when I went back to school for my master's degree. And, I mean, I kind of like have such a knee-jerk critical reaction to big establishment type Western canonical cultural institutions, and the whole idea of kind of trying to get everything seems a little foolhardy to me. But at the same time, it's kind of interesting. You know, it's you do it every once in a blue moon, and it can be a great experience. And I think maybe I have maybe gone too far in the critical direction. So it's a fun thing to do. It's fun to be a tourist in your own city. I recommend that if you get a chance, because it's so easy to just ignore all of the sights and attractions when you get wrapped up in your day-to-day, as we all do. So that was part of the weekend. The weekend was great. It was great to see my parents. Shout out to my mom and dad. Shout out to my dad, I should say. Mom doesn't listen. As you may remember. It's always, I think I mention it every episode. But it was great to see them. Good to spend some family time. You certainly miss it when you don't live in the same area as your family, which I have not since the year 2005, coming up on 20 years. It's been 18 years since I've left Minnesota, which is the amount of time I was in Duluth. I haven't been in New York longer than I've been in Minnesota. I was in Minnesota for 25 years, but we're coming up on it. So the week was a little wild. My co-teacher left 2 weeks, or I guess it was a week from Friday. She just up and left. She told us Thursday. I sort of gave her the hard sell to stay. So she was sort of undecided again Thursday night, but then Friday morning came in and told me she was leaving. So that was unfortunate. She didn't give us 2 weeks notice either, which was also unfortunate. But it is what it was. It is what it is. My director was supposed to teach with me on starting last Monday morning, but she had a pretty serious medical condition and it required surgery. And so she's recovering as we speak. So I got myself a helper. One of the women who has been a helper in another class is now my helper. And actually it went okay the first week. So we're taking it one day at a time. We are trying to find somebody new, but don't have a person quite yet. So that was the week. I hope everyone else's week was good. I played hockey today. I know everyone is waiting with bated breath on the hockey update. Probably should have led with that, but I will, I will rectify the situation now. I did get back on the ice for the first time since June. since I ran into the backside of an organizer of a game in Duluth and twisted my knee and tore some meniscus. I had not played until last week when I played a game of roller hockey, which went well. I felt pretty good. I'm not 100%, so I want you guys to know that if you see video of me getting beat on a play, know that I'm not 100%. I'm sure you guys are seeing videos of my hockey pretty frequently on all the major hockey media outlets. Just know I'm not 100%. I have to just concede certain plays. I know you guys probably could know that just by watching, but I wanted to be official about it. Did feel good, though, to get back out there. I'm probably 80%. There's a lot I can do, which is awesome. Feels good just to be flying around, getting a good workout, playing the game I love. I was on the ice today. Never know about a Monday pickup game. There's a noon game at a rink in New York. It is a schlep and a half for me. It's more than an hour on the train, and I got all my gear. But hey, that's how you know I love to play, because I went from my parents' hotel. I dropped my stuff off there, had breakfast with them, went back to their hotel, got my stuff, schlepped it around over to the city ice rink in Queens, played in the noon game for an hour. Blessedly, there were 5 other skaters and a goalie. Huge in the hockey world. You never know the kind of numbers you're going to get. Even 2-on-2 is okay, but 3-on-3 is much better. And we actually had kind of even amount of talent and a goalie, so that was sweet. Got to make a few sweet plays and felt sweet about it. I'm going to... saying sweet, a little detour to the language corner. Sweet reminds me of mint. We used to say sweet, like when I was a little bit older, back in the 80s, people used to say mint. Or kids did, at least. Anytime you start getting down on these Gen Z kids or millennials for their lingo, for saying stuff like 100, or I guess fire is one, facts. Just remember mint. Somebody would say, "Oh, I saw that new Gretzky jersey. It's so mint." What did our parents think about that? Anyway, it was sweet to play, and it was mint to play, and I felt awesome afterwards. I actually didn't feel awesome until I finally got home. I think because I knew the workout wasn't done. I had to schlep the bag up 2 flights of stairs to get to the subway platform after schlepping it from the rink. And then when I got to my stop here in Brooklyn, I had to schlep around up a couple of flights and then up to the street level. And then it's a good 8-9 minute walk, I think, from my apartment. So the workout's not done until I get home. But it was great. It was fun. And a great way to spend a rainy day on a 3-day weekend. I think I'm going to head over to the essay corner. This is an essay I wrote in the summer, I think in early July. So let's dive right in. Today is day 7 in my adventures in writing, where I go to a new place and then write. Today I rode my bike on a new road on the way to the beach. It was next to the old road and looked a lot like the old road. The houses were similar, the cars, the traffic, and the people looked similar. My choice felt like possibly a cop-out, but it was different. In fact, I got a little of that freshness that you get in a new place. It gives me a feeling that I'm not just doing the same old in an attempt to be free from the uncomfortable feeling of not knowing what to do next. Part of the newness was blunted a bit because I was preoccupied. I received an email from a parent today indicating I'd be required to testify at a court proceeding regarding the custody of a student of mine. I wasn't too bothered by this requirement. I've done it before. I was more bothered by having to decide if I needed to contact my school director. We haven't spoken in a few weeks, and I just kind of don't want to get roped into anything before the summer is finished. I also don't know if they have hired a co-teacher for me, and if they haven't, I won't be coming back. I didn't really want to know about that situation until I had to, and I figured I had a few more weeks. This work situation makes me feel a bit like an illustration of a quantum computing bit. Computing bits are either 1 or 0, but due to the quantum nature of quantum bits, they are, in a sense, both 1 and 0 before they are observed or measured. Videos will often illustrate this by showing a digital number flipping back and forth between 1 and 0, so fast that it gets blurry. That's kind of how I feel. Will it land on 1 and I'm back to my regular job, or will it land on 0 where I need to find a new job? I had a similar situation last summer until at some point I was informed that they had hired the person I had originally found to work their summer camp. I don't think I had determined not to work there if they hadn't found someone, but I have this time. I'm not sure if I could find another teaching job right away, so it may be that I take a temporary position in the fall. On top of that, I've been reading a book on creativity called The Artist's Way, and that is really urging the reader to go for their creative goals full force. To me, that would be doing the podcast and maybe some other kind of writing or comedy as a full-time pursuit. That would be my dream, and I'm following the book's 12-week program. But at the moment, I don't see a clear path to that goal. One thing that this situation has brought into sharp relief is the wisdom of living one day at a time. That can be helpful when I'm in an unpleasant situation that may have a pretty predictable future, but I found it has another helpful application when I have an uncertain future. It could turn out to be not what I think I want. It could turn out to be fantastic. While I've accepted that certain uncomfortable feelings will come up, I can recognize my attitude about the future is shaping today, and it would be a shame to ruin a day over something that is not yet real. Hey, I'm looking for a jacket, or I'm thinking about buying a new jacket. This is kind of like the hat situation. I don't know what it is. Certain articles of clothing sort of capture my imagination. I just kind of see myself like just, walking around in the jacket, maybe leaning against in the inside of a doorway, or I don't know, hanging out inside a coffee shop wearing the jacket. So it's kind of like the hat. I'm very particular about what I want. I did buy a jacket that I do like. It's kind of a blue, what do I want to say? It's a synthetic, but I don't know how to put this. Maybe like a nylon material on the outside, kind of a shell, kind of a water-resistant shell. It doesn't look plastic or anything like that. It's cool. It's just a regular jacket. It's zip up. It's got a regular collar, and it's navy blue. You would have thought that would be easy to find, but you would have thought wrong. I don't know why. It's jackets, it seems like, are all bomber jackets with the kind of, I think they call them military collars that don't fold down. They just kind of go up, but they don't go up not like a little mock turtle. It's just kind of this little, it's like a t-shirt, ringer t-shirt. And I don't know, man, those things have been marketed to young men now for 5-6 years. It seems like every menswear company has their version of it, and they just seem kind of boring to me. I don't know, I don't like how they look. They're okay, but it's just like, I don't know, young man, urban jacket, sort of generic. So, kind of want like a leather jacket, but that's a whole nother can of worms. I would like a fake leather jacket, as I'm a vegetarian, and kind of don't want more leather in my life than there has to be. But it's hard to find one that doesn't look like I'm trying to look like Top Gun. I don't want the furry thing around the collar either. So you would think it'd be easy just to find like a regular leather jacket that has a kind of fold down collar and isn't super baggy, doesn't have a fur collar, but you'd be surprised. I kind of been looking on and off for years. So I don't know. I'm also wondering if I'm like too old for a leather jacket. Probably can't be super fitted, but I'm starting to think. I've had this kind of idea of a cool leather jacket, a cool fall jacket in my head for years. I bought this one black kind of sort of like wool or cotton jacket that I like. It's kind of got, it's a jacket, it's not a coat, sort of just hits you at the waist, but it's got this terrible collar that itches and chafes, and it's from a pretty good company. I think it's Kenneth Cole or something similar. So I was surprised by that, and I like it. I still have it, but I hardly ever wear it because it itches too much. So that was a bust. So yeah, I don't know. I think I maybe just need to make my own clothes, but we may have a new series. People seem to enjoy my searching for my hat saga, which, by the way, I'm starting to have second thoughts a little bit about the bolero. I don't know. Since I cut it down, it seems to maybe not work as well. It's got a little bit of an Amish look going, which I definitely don't want. No offense to the Amish. So I think I might need to just get the one with the little pinched, crown. I think they call that, my brother told me, like a cattleman's grip or something like that. So we'll see. We'll have to see. Maybe another hats in the future. Kate will be excited to hear that, I'm sure. We'll see. Hey, Movember is coming up, and I feel like I want to give a warning to guys that are thinking about doing it. I grew a mustache once, and my whole life changed. Suddenly I knew things about drywall. I found out I had a Hustler subscription. Microbrews were completely undrinkable. This was back in my beer drinking days. All I could drink, was Mick Golden or, of course, a Budweiser. Bud Light seemed to be better. I was on a bowling team. Turned out I had been for years. And they had a jacket for me. One of those vinyl jackets that had the team name on the back. Snap up. And, they called me Handsome Whip. That was embroidered on the front. So just beware before you do it. Your life could change. Oktoberfest is also coming up. It made me think about drinking. I've seen some videos of people getting ready and celebrating Oktoberfest. German people with fistfuls of flowing beer steins. And, got me thinking, where I grew up in northern Minnesota, people say we drink a lot. People say we start drinking early. It's a myth. It's not true. It's second trimester at the earliest. Speaking of drinking, Dean Martin once said that he felt bad for people that don't drink because they get up in the morning and that was as good as the day it was going to get. And I was just, I was thinking about that, and I thought that was probably wrong. But, my musings were interrupted when some of the jelly squeezed out of the donut I was eating. Now, normally jelly falling out of the donut doesn't interrupt my ponderings, but this time it landed on the woman I was having sex with. Hey, I looked into NIL. I don't know if you guys know about that. That's the name, image, and likeness. That's this thing that's going on for college athletes where they get to basically make money off of their name, image, and likeness, so they can endorse products and services just like a pro. I was curious about this. I looked into it. I found out about this woman named Livy Dunn. Livy Dunn. She is an LSU gymnast down in Louisiana, I guess that is. And I was trying to figure out, I saw that she had millions of people on Instagram that were followers of her, and I thought, how does a gymnast from LSU get millions of people on Instagram? It turns out, she's one of the top NIL people. That's how I saw her name. She makes $3 million a year. And I think largely from what I read, it's because of her social following. So I was thinking, how does a random gymnast from LSU do this? And I looked it up, her gymnastics stats. She was pretty good, but she hasn't even won a national championship. I don't think as a team, as a member of a team or individually. And now, there's no other gymnasts that are even close to her earnings. So I hopped over to Instagram to see what was going on. And as I expect, I saw many racy pics, and I thought, that's what's going on here. She's doing racy pics on Instagram. That's why she got so many followers. And it got me thinking, butts right now are big. They're really in right now. And mine's no dud. Let's be honest. I think we can all agree on that. If there's one thing we can all agree on. So if she can mix sports and booty shots, why can't I? So I hope my social media friends are ready. You just might get to see me, with the hockey pants slipping down a little bit in the locker room, or breezers as we call them, and as God intended them to be called, as we call them in Minnesota. So yeah, you get the best of both worlds. You guys are going to be able to get a better look into my life as a weekend warrior, and a cheeky little peeks at my man mounds. And I do mean cheeky. All right, well, I hope that's it, or I know that is it for this week. I hope everyone's well and having a good slide into fall. Peace and love.